Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching accesstv.org.
Boys and girls, this is Miss Cleo again, here to tell you more stories. And remember last week when I brought a picture in by a little girl, and she had a journal and she drew her pictures and she dated all of her pictures. Well, today I thought that I would bring in well, it's not exactly a journal. It's my folder where I keep a lot of my stories. I have quite a few folders with stories in them. So I was looking through my folder, so I thought I would read you this story today. And it's called The Story of the Pulled Together Morning, Harambe. And that's what Harambe means. At the beginning of the world, there was no sun in the sky. Everybody was falling over each other, and they were fighting and they were arguing, and finally Lion called a meeting of all the people. Everyone came: giraffe, zebra, antelope, monkey, cobra. They bickered with one another for a long time before Crocodile finally got their attention. "Listen, people," said Crocodile. "Umoja, if we're going to solve our problems, we've got to admit that despite our differences, we're all in this together." Antelope broke the sober silence that followed Crocodile's words. "Harambe," she said. "We've got to pull together." "Yes," shouted someone else. "Harambe, we've got to pull together." The crowd repeated. "Harambe," they said. "Harambe." Then Leopard began to solve the problems, to talk about the problems. "Sometimes, when it rains," he suggested, "the sky cracks open. You know how you can see a blade of light on the other side of a crack? If only we could get to the other side of the sky and get some of that light for ourselves." Hyena laughed. "How are we supposed to get up there?" she asked. "Even if we could get up there, we're too big to get through the crack," Elephant pointed out. Mouse nudged Spider and tapped Fly's wing. "We're not too big," she whispered. Then in a loud voice, she offered, "Spider, Fly, and I will go." The people murmured hopefully, "Oh, yes, yes." "Wait a second," said Fly. "I can't go with Spider." "You're forgetting," cried Monkey. "Harambe, we've got to pull together." "But she'll eat me," moaned Fly. "Imani," said Spider firmly. "Have faith, Fly. Why would I eat you when you're helping us all get light?" Oh, Fly was silent for a moment. "Harambe," said Mouse. "We've got to pull together." Fly thoughtfully rubbed two of his back legs together. Finally, he said, "Okay, I'll go." The big animals cheered. "And we'll stay right here and make music for you until you return," announced Lion. "Harambe," shouted everyone. "Harambe," Spider spun a silver ladder to the top of the sky. Mouse and Fly climbed carefully after her. With her sharp little teeth, Mouse gnawed a hole in the sky at the end of the ladder, and the three small animals squeezed themselves through to the land of the sky people. They blinked and looked at one another in the new light. Mouse's whiskers bristled delighting, and Fly's wings glittered purple and green. They could hear a faint surge of sound from the people below. Spider smiled. "We did it," she said. "Harambe," said Mouse. "We're pulling together." Everywhere around them is a shining grass field where the sky people moving swish, swish, to and fro. The sky people curiously questioned their strange visitors and then took Mouse, Fly, and Spider to the king. "These people want light," they told the king. "They say they've come from Earth to get it." Now the king of the sky people did not want to give these strangers light, but he also did not wish to appear ungracious. He shifted in his throne, adjusted his bright robe, and pressed his fingertips together. This is not a small matter," he said importantly. "I must call a meeting." Spider, Mouse, and Fly watched as the sky people gathered behind the vibrant black, red, and green folds of a big tent. Fly winked at his companions, then flew toward the secret council. The people inside talked long and seriously, but they never noticed Fly, who had taken a place very quietly on the wall. "We can't give these people light," said the king. "We'll give them a test instead. They won't be able to pass it, and then we'll kill them." So they went out to Spider, Mouse, and Fly. "We'll give you a test," they said. We need grass for our huts. You must cut down all the grass and make grass for our huts. Make room for our huts." So, very graciously, "We will very gladly do that," said Mouse. And when they all went away, Fly said, "How are we going to do that? We can't do that." "I have an idea." And they called for the queen of the ants, and they came up the ladder, and they cut down all the grass. "Harambe," said the queen as they worked. "Harambe," and all the grass was cut down. And in the morning, the king looked and was not pleased, but he put a smile on his face, and he said, "Well, that was just the first test. The second test, you must eat a whole cow. We will cut up the cow, and you must eat every bit of it." And Mouse said, "Oh, certainly, gracious king. We will be very glad to do that." And when they went away, Fly was all excited. He could smell the meat coming, and they brought basket and basket and basket full of meat. "But how are we going to eat all of this meat?" After Fly had his fill, Mouse said, "I have an idea." And he built these groves and groves into the ground, and they put all the meat there, and they covered it all up. And by morning, the king was back, and he looked around, and there was not one piece of meat left. And he said, "This is not good," to himself, of course, because he had to be gracious. He said, "You have one more test." And he went into his tent and had a meeting with all of the elders, and Fly flew on the wall. And he said, And the king said, you know, these people are strong. We're going to have to give them light. But first we will give them a test. And they will have to pick out the boxes. Which is light? And Fly flew back and said, he's going to give us a test. And he told them which box that the light was in. So the king came out and he said, which box? I will give you a test. And if you get this, you may have the light. Which is it? And he did like this, and he made the boxes back and forth. And then Mouse grabbed the red box, and they all ran to the hole in the sky and ran down. And Fly and Spider was right behind her, and they got to the ground where everyone was singing, Harambe, Harambe. Oh, they are back, they are back. Oh, how wonderful. They have brought us light. And Mouse went over to the box. And everyone looking. And he opened the box. And a rooster jumped out. There was no light. They did not bring light. They did not bring us light. And everyone was complaining. And Mouse and Fly and Spider were so upset that they had failed. And all of a sudden the rooster went, ha, ha, flapping his wings. Ha, 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 Harambe! Ha, 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 Harambe! And out popped this red and orange ball and flew up to the sky, and it was the sun. And ever since that day, the rooster has been calling up the sun, and we have had sunlight ever since. Thank you very much for being with me and listening to my story. I'll be back next week to tell you another one. Remember, make your journals and your rap book and your scrapbooks. And remember, date them. Maybe someday I'll get to see you. Goodbye. See you next week. Take care.